What's up guys, it's Darren Jackson here, and I've been doing a lot of research on electric vehicles. It's the new craze within the past 5 or 10 years led by companies like Tesla. And I was prepping for a video that I was originally gonna do today, but one of the EV companies I came across is a company called Workhorse Group. And there's a lot of information behind that one company. It's gonna take me a while to actually consolidate that for what I want to talk about later on. So today we're gonna talk about Workhorse Group, and obviously that's a huge topic of discussion from a lot of other YouTubers. There's a lot of things going on with that company, from contracts, et cetera, that are gonna be happening potentially in the near future. But one thing I haven't seen a lot of people talk about when it comes to Workhorse Group is the history of the company on top of everything else, on why that supports them investing in X amount of money over X amount of periods of time. So this video is specifically for the people that have heard of Workhorse Group and have heard of the hype behind Workhorse Group, but want to know more of the history behind it so they can further make a better judgment on if they should invest in this company, because a lot of EV companies are based off speculation, or at least a few of them. So having a lot of history is beneficial. So with that being said, guys, in this video, we're gonna go over specifically what Workhorse Group is all about, a little bit about their history. Then we'll go over the products that they have, what makes them a little bit different from other EV companies. Obviously, this is an investing YouTube channel, so we're gonna go over the financial based stuff, how that's in line, and how that kind of goes in line with some of the new information, some of the updates, other contracts, agreements, et cetera, that Workhorse Group has had recently. And then I'll give my personal opinion on, kind of how I'm gonna go about with this company, if I'm gonna invest in them, if I am, how much am I gonna invest. It's gonna be a decent amount of information, but I'm gonna try to do my best to consolidate it as much as I can. But with that being said, let's get started. All right, so let's start off with the history of Workhorse Group. It's a bit of information, but I'm gonna try to burn through this as fast as I can. And here we go. All right, so this company was created in February 2nd of 2007 by a man named Stephen Burns in, I believe, Cincinnati, Ohio. And they started by being an electrification package company, and they started that on two-door roadsters. And a contest that Progressive Insurance started. It's safe to say they did pretty well with that. And considering how well they did with two-door roadsters, which are pretty small cars, they decided to use the same thing but implement those on larger vehicles. They gained some traction, gained a lot of success, and they ended up being able to make electrification packages for major car companies for their SUVs, such as Chevy, Jeep, and Mercedes-Benz. So that did really well, and I believe in 2010 they entered the stock market under their old name, which was their ticker symbol AMPD. They did that for a couple of years until they realized they weren't getting a lot of money for that for whatever reasons. So instead of staying with regular vehicles like a lot of these other EV companies did, they decided to be a little different and go directly and specifically for commercial vehicles. So with that in mind, they ended up having a partnership, if you will, with an OEM company called Navistar that is responsible for commercial vehicles, school buses, and stuff like that. And their first, I guess, exam was to bring back to life a 1,000 square foot bus. They were able to do that, not aware of who the bus was for, but it succeeded either way. So Navistar was prepared to have a long-term contract with AMP, but the CEOs changed around that time. So right before that became final, the old CEO gave Stephen Burns and his workers the connection to the actual client that the 1,000 commercial square foot bus was for, and they ended up working with them in their shops and building a relationship with them. And after a couple of years, AMP was able to gain a complete partnership with this other company. They gained their brand and they became known as the company we know today as Workhorse Group. And they reflected that change in the stock market, I believe in 2015, changing their ticker symbol to WKHS. Years and years later, and here we are. So I wanted to emphasize on the history because, again, a lot of companies are built up on speculation. Nikola Motors was a huge speculative company, and I made a video about that a long time ago, and I believed it back then. And now here we are. Who knows what's gonna happen in the future, but again, built up on speculation. It's really beneficial for companies to have not only a history, but a history showing that they have vehicles on the road. this company's obviously had a lot of miles on the road. And that leads into the products that this company has. Some of the original products that they made based off these commercial vehicles was their eGen and their E100. And these two models have sold over 350 vehicles nationwide and have collected over 8 million miles. So yes, they have experience. And one thing that's important to me is what type of partnerships they have with other companies. It's one thing to make your vehicles and have experience with the prototypes, but can you sell those vehicles to actual companies? And sure enough, they have partnerships with companies such as DHL, Amazon, FedEx, and major companies like UPS, which is insane. I say major companies, obviously Amazon is too, but those are some big relationships with companies. So they're making a lot of money as is, which is gonna fall into another category that we'll talk about in a second. Now, that was back then, and those vehicles are still available. But now they're bringing out, I believe, the C650 and the C1000. By the way, the 650 and the 1000 just represent the square footage of the vehicles themselves. But they're supposed to be enhanced, fully electric vehicles for these similar companies. And they have different features such as having low flooring, which is beneficial. It makes it more comfortable for the driver. And it allows them to put in more packages in their vehicles, which is very efficient, especially if it's a logistics type of company. And on top of that, this will be the first type of vehicle that they make with suspensions on all four wheels. I think they're air-powered suspensions or something like that. But point is, it's gonna be a more comfortable drive for the driver and for the packages. And that's important because a lot of packages can be fragile. And you wanna increase that customer service between driver and customer, or customer, driver, and company. The last thing you want is to have packages delivered to them that right before they made it, they got damaged on the way there. So that's something that's low-key, pretty convenient, and very important. Now, what's really dope and what I like is that they also make fully autonomous drones. I believe they're called horsefly drones, and they work directly with C1000. So apparently the C1000 is supposed to have this really small, I guess, helipad on the top of the vehicle. So whenever they're doing routes, I guess the C1000 will have a specific route, and then within that radius, the horsefly can take off from the C1000 and deliver packages to other houses. So that's supposed to increase the level of convenience. It's only supposed to cost about 3 cents per mile, which is gonna save this company a lot of money, and companies that decide to get these vehicles from Workhorse a lot more money rather than spending the mileage on a regular gas-powered vehicle or even an electric vehicle. Aside from the fact that it's gonna be a little scary, it's gonna take probably a lot of years for people to get used to seeing their new iPhone 12 or 57 or whatever iPhone is gonna be out by that time, floating in the air from a drone and just being gracefully put in their hands, or however it's gonna work. It is gonna be really convenient in the long run. So that concept, it's pretty dope. So those concepts are important, but what's concepts without the financial support behind it or the financial output ahead of it? And of course, guys, this is a investing channel. Whether you're a beginner or expert, you're on this to see how this is gonna benefit you if you decide to put money behind this ticker symbol. I did a little research on that, and it looks like as of Q2 of this year, they had a profit of about $94,000, which, by the way, doesn't seem like a lot. I guess it depends on what kind of company you are, but considering their fiscal Q2 of last year of only $5,000, that's a huge, huge increase. And with that, their net worth for this year, I believe, was between $130,000 and maybe $150,000 up until this point. But again, compared to last year where it was only $105,000, that's tremendous. And this company back, I believe, a couple of years ago was worth $3 a share. I think it was actually a penny stock. And if I am correct, apparently it all changed, especially dramatically, when Donald Trump made this tweet. I'm gonna try to find it. If I can, I'll put it right here, where after he tweeted about Workhorse, the stock shot up, I believe, 200 to 300% within that day. And now it kind of rides in the early 20s or mid 20s. It has gone down a little bit, but I'm pretty sure that's just because companies like Tesla are going down. So you have this huge tech, specifically EV sector within the tech sector overall. They're all just gonna fall down with it. But financially, they have a lot of support, and they're gonna have a lot more support potentially in the future. And what I mean by that is one of the biggest things they have looking forward to potentially is this USPS contract that everyone's been talking about on YouTube lately. So USPS is renewing their fleet contract. They're giving manufacturers the potential to take over whether they're fractions or the entire contract themselves. Workhorse is actually one of those companies that's in the market to take over the fleet itself, or at least part of it. but I believe they're the only company that actually already has electric vehicles. Now their opponents are Ford and Oshkosh. I was pretty sure Oshkosh was like a children's clothing company, but apparently they're also a car manufacturing company. And it's believed that based off Workhorse's background and the relationships they've already had and the experience that their vehicles have had, that they could potentially gain at least 75% of this contract for 75% of the fleets. 75% of the fleets is a lot of money when you consider what the grand prize of this full fleet contract is. It was rumored to be between $6 to $8 billion. I'm recently hearing it could go up to $20 billion, which is supposed to be able to, for Workhorse at least, be over 164,000 EV delivery trucks. That would be amazing, and that would set this company off even faster probably than that tweet did. And I feel like that alone has been a speculative reason why people are investing into this company, at least in my personal opinion. But again, especially as a person who has a very small portfolio and invests X amount every single week, I want to make sure I put my money into a company that I believe has growth potential. I spoke about Hyliion a few times within the past 2 weeks. I feel like that company has growth potential. I invested in Nikola a couple of months ago. I thought they had growth potential, or at least immediate growth potential, and I was right. But this company has had the experience and has had the growth potential, and they're still making strides to be better. This feels like exciting times for Workhorse, but again, who knows? We're gonna have to see, for one, how this USPS contract holds out and what that will do to the company from there. How else are they trying to innovate themselves? The drones is a huge thing. How efficient will that be? It's gonna take some years, but I really do feel like this is a company that I will plan on investing in. Now, as far as how much, again, I only invest about $50 a week into my Robinhood portfolio. And right now, Workhorse is at about $22 a share. And mind you guys, this video will be out Monday. This is a Saturday that I'm talking about this, so there is no trading going on right now, unless you guys know something I don't. But who knows what it's gonna be like on Monday. So $50 could afford me 2 shares. I may do 1 or 2. I'm still kind of waiting on some other companies. I may hold some over for cash, but I do feel like investing in Workhorse will be a positive play, especially with the route they're going and where they're coming from. So definitely be on the lookout on that. And like I said, guys, I'm working on a video. This is how I got to these notes and how I realize there's a lot of information when it comes to this one EV company. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you watch some of these other videos that I've been making, and hopefully they help you out on your investing journey as they have in mine. Definitely leave some likes, leave some comments, whether they're good or bad, on how you feel about the Workhorse stock itself, the company, the EV sector within tech, my video, me, whatever. I love having conversations with you guys, so make sure you stay vocal and let me know how you guys feel about this subject in its entirety. Appreciate you guys for watching, and until next time, take care.